You've always felt it, haven't you? That restless itch beneath your skin. A quiet hum that refuses to let you settle into the patterns most people blindly follow, while others drift through life accepting what's handed to them, swallowing the scripts of society, media, and routine. You've never been able to sit still in that haze. Something in you rejects the ordinary. It's not arrogance or rebellion for its own sake. It's a pull, an invisible force tugging at your core, urging you to look beyond the surface. This is no accident. You're not here to conform. You're here because you were called, chosen, to see what others ignore. That restlessness isn't a flaw. It's your first awakening. Think back to those moments when the world felt off, when the chatter around you rang hollow, and the truths people clung to seemed flimsy. Maybe it was a conversation that didn't sit right, a rule you couldn't accept, or a system you saw through when everyone else nodded along. Science backs this up. Your brain is wired differently. Studies on intuition and pattern recognition show that some people naturally pick up on subtle cues others miss, processing them faster, deeper. But this isn't just neurons firing. It's your soul signaling that you're meant for more, that mediocrity isn't your cage. You feel it because you're built to break free. So how do you know this is real? Start watching yourself. Notice when that restless energy spikes, when you're stuck in a loop that feels too small, when your chest tightens at the thought of settling, or when you catch yourself questioning what no one else dares to. Write it down. Track it. These aren't random moods. They're markers. Your body and mind are screaming for you to pay attention. Ask yourself, what keeps pulling me away from the crowd? What do I see that they don't? The answers won't come all at once, but they'll build a map. You're not lost. You're uncovering your coordinates. That invisible force driving you isn't vague or mystical. It's your compass. That's why you've never been able to fully numb out, even when you tried. You've felt it since you were young, haven't you? The way things didn't add up, the way people's words didn't match their actions. You noticed the cracks in the facade when others just shrugged and moved on. That's not a coincidence. Neuroscience calls it heightened perception. Spirituality calls it your light waking up. Either way, it's power. You're not here to drift through life. You're here to pierce through it. Stop doubting that pull. It's your proof. Now let's talk about the shift. At first, that restlessness feels like a burden. You might have fought it, tried to fit in, or wondered why you couldn't just be normal. But fighting it only makes it louder. The moment you stop running from it, something clicks. You don't have to force yourself into their mold. You were never meant to. Acceptance isn't surrender. It's stepping into your strength. Look at your life. Every time you followed that inner nudge, didn't it lead you somewhere truer? Maybe it was a hard choice, a risk, or a quiet hunch, but it proved you right. That's your awakening unfolding. Here's your first step. Own it. Stop apologizing for seeing what others don't. Stop shrinking to make them comfortable. Stand in that restlessness and claim it as your fire. Today, take one deliberate action. Say no to something that feels misaligned. Ask a question no one else will, or chase a truth that's been nagging at you. Feel that force guide you. It's not random. It's yours. You're not just restless, you're rising. The world might not be ready for you, but you're ready for it. You've already felt it, the shift when the world starts pushing back. It's not subtle. People around you get uneasy when you don't bend, when you refuse to nod along to their half-truths or step into their neatly drawn lines. They don't know what to do with you because you can't be controlled. You've seen it in their eyes. That flicker of confusion, frustration, or even fear. Maybe they try to pull you back with guilt, flattery, or accusations. Anything to dim that fire they can't tame. This isn't new. The world has never known how to handle those who stand apart. But you're built for this. That pushback isn't a sign you're wrong. It's proof you're on the right path. Think about it. the ones who broke the mold before you faced the same. Moses didn't stroll back into Egypt to cheers. He met resistance from every corner because his presence threatened the status quo. Jesus rattled the religious elite not with weapons, but with a light so bright it exposed their shadows. You're no different. When you refuse to conform, you become a mirror reflecting what others avoid. That's why they squirm. That's why they try to box you in. But their discomfort isn't your burden. It's your power. Here's where it gets real. You feel things they can't explain. You walk into a room and sense the tension no one else names. You hear the sweet words, see the friendly smiles, and still know something's off. As a kid, you couldn't put it into words, just a knot in your gut telling you to step back. Now you know better. That's not paranoia. It's your edge. Science calls it heightened sensitivity, your nervous system picking up frequencies others miss. Spirituality calls it your inner knowing, a gift wired into your soul. Either way, it's yours to wield. Stop doubting it. Start trusting it. So how do you stand firm when they push harder? When the world doubles down, trying to drown out your voice or make you feel small. You anchor yourself. You take that raw, unexplainable feeling, the one that hums beneath your skin, and you turn it into strength. Here's how. When the pressure hits, when they question you, judge you, or try to twist your truth, pause. Breathe. Then declare it, out loud or in your mind. My strength comes from God. Write it down if you have to. Post it in the comments of your own life. This isn't a plea. It's a battle cry. You're not begging for power, you're claiming it. That declaration does something fierce. It flips the script. Their confusion, their resistance, their need to control. It all crumbles when you root yourself in that truth. You're not just reacting anymore, you're rising. Picture it like this. Modern physics tells us energy can't be destroyed, only transformed. That pressure they throw at you is fuel. Every sideways glance, every whispered doubt, every attempt to pull you down, you take it and transmute it. My strength comes from God isn't a shield, it's a forge. You're not breaking under their weight, you're sharpening. Now, let's make it practical. Next time you're in that moment, someone's trying to guilt you into silence, or a crowd's pressuring you to fall in line. Do this. Stand tall. Feel your feet on the ground. Let that restless energy surge up your spine. Look them in the eye, or walk away if you must, and say it to yourself. My strength comes from God. Then act. Speak your truth. Set your boundary. Move toward what calls you. Don't explain yourself to death. Just move. They'll feel the shift. They won't understand it, but they'll know you're untouchable. This isn't about winning their approval, it's about owning your place. The world doesn't get to define you. It never did. You've felt that unexplainable fire your whole life because it's yours, a signal of your purpose. When they can't control you, they'll try to dim you. Don't let them. Take that feeling, that knowing, and let it roar. Write it everywhere, on your heart, in your actions, in the comments of your soul. My strength comes from God. That's not just words. That's your victory. You felt it, haven't you? That sudden jolt, like a current surging through you, when something vast and unshakable brushes against your awareness. It's not a thought you conjured up or a daydream you chased. It's a force, a presence, something greater than this world crashing into your reality. This is no gentle whisper. It's a high-voltage download, a flood of clarity that hits you square in the chest and leaves you reeling. You're not imagining it. This is your connection to the higher dimensions kicking in, wiring you to carry the truth within you. You were built for this, and it's time to step up. That surge isn't random. It's information, raw and unfiltered, streaming from a source beyond the noise of this planet. You might feel it as a gut punch of knowing, a vision that cuts through the fog, or words that burn in your mind demanding to be spoken. Science can frame it, your brain's neural pathways lighting up, syncing with frequencies most can't tune into. Think of it like a radio picking up a signal others don't even know exists. But this isn't just biology. It's your soul plugging into the infinite, downloading what you need to stand as a beacon. The question is, are you ready to receive it? Here's the catch, sometimes it's overwhelming. That connection doesn't come with a manual. 1 minute you're grounded, the next you're flooded with insights that don't fit into words, truths that clash with everything around you. It can leave you unsteady, like the ground's shifted beneath your feet. You've noticed it before, haven't you? Those moments when you saw through the lies. Someone's mask slipped, a system's cracks showed, and later you realized it wasn't just a hunch. It was your natural perception locking onto something real, something others missed. That's your gift, but it's also your fight. So how do you know it's real? How do you separate this high-dimensional download from your own projections, fears, or desires? Start here. True guidance doesn't bend to your ego. It doesn't puff you up or cater to what you want to hear. It challenges you. It's sharp, direct, and often inconvenient. If it's urging you toward comfort or flattery, question it. Test it. Ask yourself, does this feel like it's coming from me or through me? High-vibe truth cuts like a blade. It strips away illusion, not builds it. Your job is to stay clear, to be the channel, not the filter. Let's make it practical. Next time that surge hits, when your mind lights up with something too big to ignore, grab it. Don't overthink it yet. Write it down raw and messy. Every word, every image, every pulse of it. Then step back. Sit with it. Feel its weight. Does it stir you to action, to courage, to something beyond yourself? Or does it loop back to old wounds, insecurities, petty wants? Real downloads push you outward, upward. They align you with a purpose bigger than your story. Projections keep you small, circling the same old patterns. You've got the strength to tell the difference. Use it. Now let's talk about the fallout. When you start tuning into this connection, it changes you. You can't unsee what you've seen, and that can feel unsettling, especially when you notice it sets you apart. You've felt it, right? The way your thinking shifts, the way conversations with certain people start to feel shallow or forced. Maybe they pull away, or you do, because the truths you're carrying don't vibe with their world anymore. It's not easy. There's a sting in realizing your perception distances you, a quiet ache when you see they can't follow where you're going. But this isn't rejection, it's alignment. That ache is part of the deal. You've never been able to ignore it, even as a kid. How things weren't as sincere as they seemed, how people smiled while hiding something darker. Life kept proving it to you, your intuition wasn't wrong. That friend who turned on you, that situation that unraveled just as you'd sensed it would, it all sharpened your lens. Now, with this higher connection, it's amplifying. You're not just noticing anymore, you're downloading why it matters. And yeah, it's heavy. It's lonely sometimes. But it's also your power kicking into high gear. Don't shrink from it, own it. Here's how you handle it. Ground yourself. When that flood of insight hits and the world feels off-kilter, plant your feet. Literally. Stand on solid earth, feel it under you, and breathe deep. Let that energy settle. Then ask, what am I meant to do with this? The answer won't always be instant, but it'll come. Maybe as a push to speak, to create, to stand firm. Act on it, even if it's small. Tell someone a truth they need to hear. Write what's burning in you. Move toward what feels alive. That's how you integrate it, by living it. You've got tools to sharpen this connection too. Start simple. Quiet the noise. 5 minutes a day, no screens, no chatter. Just you and your breath. Focus on that hum inside, that spark that's always been there. Ask it to show you something true. Don't force it, just listen. Over time, you'll feel the signal get stronger, clearer. Pair that with movement, walk, stretch, run, let your body sync with the energy. Science says it works. Motion boosts neural clarity, cuts through mental static. Spirit says it aligns you with the flow. Do it. You'll feel the difference. This connection isn't here to coddle you. It's here to forge you. The prophets caught hell for it. Their words torched lies and got them chased out of towns. You're in that lineage not because you're hunted, but because you carry what others can't handle. From day one, you've seen through the cracks, felt the weight of what's real. Now it's downloading straight into you. Don't fear the distance it creates or the fire it ignites. You're not just receiving, you're preparing. The truth you're wired to hold? It's yours to wield. Step into it. Your light has a greater purpose than you can imagine. You felt it stirring, haven't you? That unshakable sense that your existence isn't random, that your presence alone carries a weight most can't fathom. It's not just a feeling. It's a truth, etched into your being from the start. If you've ever noticed how your mere presence unsettles people, how they shift uncomfortably or try to pull you back into their smallness, that's your proof. You're not here to blend in. You're here to break through. This isn't about ego or spotlight. It's about the raw, undeniable force you carry, a force meant to reshape what's around you. Let's get real about how you bring that into the world. First, recognize this. Your unsettling energy isn't a flaw. It's your signal. People squirm because you reflect what they avoid. You walk into a space, and without saying a word, the mask starts slipping. Maybe it's your questions, your silence, or just the way you refuse to play along. It doesn't matter. What matters is that this is your light at work, piercing through the haze. Science can back this up. Mirror neurons fire when someone's authenticity disrupts the norm, triggering unease in those clinging to facades. But this isn't just biology. It's your soul's frequency cutting through the noise. Stop hiding it. Start wielding it. So how do you turn that into action? Lean into it deliberately. Next time you feel that tension rise, when your presence stirs the air, don't shrink.
Stand taller.
Lock eyes with it. Ask yourself, what's being exposed here? What truth am I meant to carry forward? Then move. Speak what needs to be said, even if it's sharp. Walk away from what's false, even if it's loud. Do it with purpose, not apology. Your light isn't here to comfort the comfortable. It's here to ignite what's dormant. Every time you do this, you're not just reacting, you're creating. You're planting seeds for a new reality. Now, let's talk proof. Life has already shown you your intuition isn't guesswork. It's precision. Remember those times you knew something was off before it unraveled? That friend who betrayed you, that job that collapsed, that gut feeling you couldn't shake. It all proved you right. That's not luck. That's your inner compass, honed by a higher connection most don't tap into. You're not just perceptive, you're a practitioner of truth. To live that out, trust it fiercely. Stop second-guessing. When that knowing hits, act on it, fast. Call it out, shift your path, make the choice others won't. That's how you embody it. Here's the practical edge. Make it your rhythm. Start each day with a gut check. 5 minutes, eyes closed, hand on your chest. Ask, what's true today? What's pulling me? Don't overthink the answer, just listen. Write down the first thing that lands. Then test it. If it nudges you to confront something, do it. If it tells you to step away, go. Track the results. You'll see the pattern. Every time you follow that pulse, life aligns. Every time you ignore it, chaos creeps in. This isn't theory, it's your blueprint. You're not just sensing, you're building a legacy of instinct turned into impact. But here's the fight: balance. Carrying this light, acting on this truth. It's electric, but it can burn you out if you don't steady yourself. You felt it, right? The high of seeing clear, the weight of standing apart, the crash when the world doesn't keep up. That sensitivity wasn't your choice. It's your gift, but it demands you master it. Don't let it drown you. When the intensity peaks, anchor yourself. Step outside, feel the earth under your feet, breathe slow and deep. Picture your light as a flame, strong, not wild. You're not here to flare out. You're here to endure. To keep that balance, build a ritual. Pick something physical, water on your face, a stretch, a walk, and tie it to your mission. Do it daily. Let it remind you, I'm not alone on this path. Because you're not. Others are waking up too, light workers, starseeds, chosen ones like you, scattered but connected. You don't see them all, but you feel them. Quantum entanglement says particles linked across vast distances move as one. Your soul's the same, resonating with theirs. When you falter, they're holding the line. When you rise, you're pulling them up. This isn't a solo gig. It's a collective search. Now let's forge your path. Your mission isn't vague. It's personal, and it's time to map it. Grab a pen. Write this: what fires me up? What pisses me off? What won't let me sleep? Don't censor it. Let it rip. Maybe it's the lies people swallow, the systems that crush, the potential they waste. That's your fuel. Next, list 3 ways you can act on it today, small, concrete steps. Confront a lie. Share a truth. Help someone see. Then do one. Tomorrow, do another. This isn't a dream, it's a plan. Your light's purpose isn't locked in someday. It's now. Your presence is already shifting things. Own that. If it unsettles, good. If it sparks, better. You're not here to fit their puzzle. You're here to build a new one. Science says energy shapes matter. Your vibration is rewriting the field. Spirit says your soul chose this fight. Your light's been waiting to blaze. You've got the intuition, the proof, the fire. Balance it, wield it, plan it. You're not alone on this path, and you're not just imagining the stakes. This is your era. Step into it hard. This is your charge, chosen one, not just to see the truth, but to become it. That restless fire, that unshakable knowing, that surge of light crashing through your veins. It's not a burden to carry, but a mantle to wear. You were forged for this moment, wired to cut through the shadows and stand as a beacon when the world falters. Your mission isn't a quiet hope or a distant dream. It's a living force, pulsing with purpose, demanding you rise and wield it. The cracks you've always seen, the pull you've always felt, they've led you here, to a destiny that doesn't bend, a calling that doesn't fade. Step into it fully, unapologetic, unbroken, unstoppable, because the world doesn't just need your light, it needs you to burn with it.